Today we're going to work with solving equations algebraically and graphically. First, to solve linear equations graphically. Okay, to solve these two linear equations, subtract 6, 3x equals -6, divide by 3, and x equals -2. On this side, since we have the two fractions, we need to multiply by 12 on all three pieces. So here, 4, 1, so we have 4x plus 9x equals 24. So 13x equals 24, and x equals 24/13. Now for an equation with an extraneous solution. Okay, now to solve this equation. First of all, x squared minus 4 factors into x plus 2, x minus 2. So we can multiply all of these equations by x plus 2, x minus 2. So that way here, x minus 2's cancel. Combine your like terms. And x equals -2. Notice when we take our answer of -2 and put it into the equation above, that we get 0 in the denominator of the middle fraction. And division by 0 is undefined. Therefore, -2 is not really a solution to the equation. Remember to find the x and y intercepts algebraically. Put 0 in for x and then substitute 0 in for y. Okay, find your x and y intercepts. Plug 0 in for x and y equals 3. Plug 0 in for y and x equals 2 and x equals 3. Oops. Now, finding solutions graphically. Okay, to graph this function, I'm going to hit the graph button. Okay, now we have to trace and get close to our 0. So go ahead and hit your trace button and get close to there. Okay, got my trace function close to the 0. And now we're going to calculate the 0. So we'll hit the calculate button right here. Now on the calculate button, we want to enter in on 0. Okay, and it's going to ask us for a left bound. So make sure you have a negative value in here for y and hit enter. And then arrow your cursor over. So now you have a positive value for y and hit enter. And now your screen should say guess. So go ahead and hit enter again. And it should give us a value for y equals 0 and gives us the x value of -1.475687. So that's how you can not only just estimate your 0, kind of gives you to, I don't know, what is that, 100,000ths? Intersection of two graphs graphically, you're going to do it the same way you did the zeros, except instead of picking the 0 tab, you'll pick the intersect tab. Now to solve an equation of quadratic type. Okay, to solve this quadratic equation, can consider these x squareds as a regular x. So it factors into x squared minus 1, x squared minus 2. X squared minus 1 will break down again into x minus 1, x plus 1. And now we can set up our solution set.
I know how to solve polynomials by factoring, Mrs. Frank. Well, good for you, Alan. Here's the next example problem.
Now for example 10, we can factor by grouping, where we pull an x squared out of the first two terms. So we pull out the x squared, and then the second two terms, we pull out the 3. And then we can take the x minus 3 out of these two terms, and we're left with the two factors there that we can set up our solution set for.
I can solve radical equations also.
Now to solve our radical equations, remember to place the radicals on opposite sides of the equal sign. And now you can square both sides. And when we square both sides, this side over here, when we square it, we have to use FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. When we square this side, the radical disappears. And then you can go ahead and solve down to your radical and square both sides. And we have the FOIL here again when the left side gets squared. Over here, we square the 2 and the radical gets squared. And then we can go ahead and solve the quadratic and set up our solution set. Now you do have to be careful. Like when we plug the 5 in for the x's in our equation, we end up getting 4 minus 3, which is 1. But when we plug the negative 3 in, we're going to get 0 and 1 on this side, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So our 3 gets knocked out of our solution set, and our only solution is 5.
Solve an equation with fractions.
And if we go to solve complex fractions, remember to look for that common denominator between x and x minus 2. So then we get that common denominator, and we multiply each set by that common denominator. And then when we go to simplify those fractions, the x cancels with the x. And over here, the x minus 2 will cancel with the x minus 2. So we just multiply by x, and so on. And after you have that part done, go ahead and do your distributive property. Move everything to one side, factor, and put your solutions in after you're factored.
One more example problem involving absolute values.
To solve our absolute value equations, remember what's inside that absolute value can be positive or negative. So you start off by solving, or to solve, by setting one equation equal to the positive value and the other side equal to the negative value. And then we go through and solve each problem separately, combining your like terms and factoring, and then setting up your solutions from there.